So welcome everybody to the strength session. I just want to preface this that even though this class is based for people living with osteoporosis, anybody is welcome to enjoy the class. So please feel free to clear your space. The props you'll be requiring for our strength session today are a chair, a set of heavy weights, a set of light weights, potentially a blanket. It'll be for a seated exercise, so you might want to peruse the room for a blanket or a pillow to sit on your chair. But before we get started in our strength 30-minute session, I just want to discuss lifting weights and how often we need to do it. So we know that we need to lift weights 2 to 3 times a week and target all our major muscle groups as per Osteoporosis Canada. The reason is there's many. They support our bones, they help strengthen our muscles, they increase our functional capacity, and of course the most important thing is in aiding in fall prevention. If you are someone who is living with osteoporosis, one of the major ways people do fracture a bone is through falling. So my aim is to get you to get that strength training be a regular part of your day. So strength training does not have to be complicated, especially if you're doing it on your own. You might think, oh my gosh, how do I do this? You pick 3 or 4 exercises. We try to balance the upper and lower body, the front and back of the body equally, so that you're not just doing the arms or the front of the thighs or just the glutes in one workout. It'll help with your lack of soreness if we try to balance out our strength training practice each session. So you'll find 3 or 4 exercises. You'll repeat your exercises 8 to 10 times depending on what feels challenging for you. You will go to the next exercise and the next and the next. You'll repeat that circuit another time. So you want to try and repeat that at least 2 to 3 times, and again, doing these exercises 2 to 3 times a week. So let's get started with a little bit of activation. You're not going to need any props for your activation. From the side, feet hip width apart, toes all facing forward. And just take a moment to stand in your best practices posture. So if we take one hand to the top of the head and lift upright into the palm of the head, feeling the length of the front, sides, and back waistline lift away from gravity or away from your pelvis. And then maintain that posture as you release your arms down by your side, and then float both arms up to chest height. Good, so the arms are straight, and now I want you to reach the palms of your hands forward. So you're gonna extend your wrist, there's the crease of your wrist. And from here, imagine, if you will, you're maintaining that nice, long, tall posture, and you're pushing an object away. So try to push your arms nice and long, like you're trying to lengthen both arms out of the socket. And then let's do the reverse of that. We're gonna keep the arms straight at the same level. We're gonna try to use the back muscles to squeeze the shoulder blades on your back. So it's a pushing action, push, push, push. Spine doesn't change, it's still nice and tall. And a pulling action as you squeeze the muscles on your back. Do your best to try to find that sensation in the muscles of your upper back as you protract and retract. It might start off as being very subtle, right? What we are attempting to do here as you go a little bit more fluid in the movement is not to elevate the top of the shoulder towards your ear. Instead, think of the shoulders moving in that opposite direction. And then you might get a little bit more fluid with this. It does take some practice, so be patient if the movement, so you want to push an object away from you and then draw it back. Maybe you might even think about making a fist as you squeeze the shoulders on your back. And then push it away, make a gentle fist, pull it in towards your chest. A couple more times. Push and pull, and last time. Ooh, I know it's starting to get warm back there. Push and pull, and then release those arms, give them a little bit of a shake. Nice job. Next exercise for activation, we'll be using a chair. And the reason I say some of us might need a prop or a little added height is if you sit in your chair, try to get at least halfway back into the chair. Feet are pelvis width apart. You find that crease in your hip and still maintain that nice tall posture. Right, from here, I like to take my arms out in front of me just so that my chest has a frame of reference. We don't want that chest to face the earth as we squeeze the bum right here. So try to squeeze your bum in your seated position, push your feet into the ground and stand up. Sit to stand. Sit to stand. So you're going to do that several times, trying to keep that chest upright. If you find that you tend to bow towards the floor, my recommendation is to get a surface and put it underneath your seat, especially if you're feeling any pain in your knees. And as you continue to do your sit to stand, try not to plop down, okay? So see if you can slowly return back and come right back up. I like to imagine I have a resistance band around my thighs in a loop, and I'm pushing my legs outwards into that loop. And sometimes you can even give that a try. We'll go 5, starting to wake up the muscles, not just of the front of the legs, but also of your seat muscles. 4, 3, good job, 2, excellent, and 1, and come on up. You can move that chair out of the way again, being mindful of your surrounding area. We're gonna think about our armpits here. And at one point I thought about, do we have any dish towels in the house? If you have dish towels, I'm gonna just show this to you for a visual. You could use those. You could also use 2 tissues. And I'm gonna plop those tissues underneath my armpit. How strange is that? The goal here is, if you wanted to try that, you don't have to, but you get the point. We're trying to keep our armpits hugging our body. So we don't want to leave that. And take your palms not to the front of the thighs, not to the side of the thighs, but somewhere in between, almost like they're on a diagonal. So you're hugging your imaginary dish towels or tissues. Unlock your knees. Imagine there's a car door that's open and you need to close it by sliding your hands down to your thighs, squeezing your armpits to those tissues or dish towels, and then come right back up. That's it, good. So we go down, thinking of lifting on all 4 sides of the waistline. When you were sitting in the chair, you were sitting using that crease of your hip. Now you're using that crease of your hip to push your pelvis back. And still thinking of that gentle squeeze in top position without thrusting your hips forward. So we're just coming up to that nice tall position. Chin is tucked in, that's it. Sliding those hands down the legs. I don't really care how far you come down, but I want you to be able to maintain that activation of those upper back muscles hugging your spine, or that imaginary pencil. And the knees are not bending, they're just soft. We'll go 5, push those feet down, come up. 4, good. Keep hugging those armpits, team. 3, 2, and 1, good. And one final exercise to activate without load. Just start to wake up those muscles. You might want to throw those tissues out if you were using them. I like to have a chair handy just to feel things out. It's like you're sussing things out. How's it going to feel in this exercise? Step 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. Start with both legs 100% straight, and the heel on that back leg is lifted. Our goal is our hips and our shoulders are always going to face the same direction, and try to settle yourself in between those legs equally and evenly. Take a big breath in, stay nice and tall. You are an elevator, not an escalator. Bend both knees, shoulders stay over hips. You come up, you switch legs, and continue. So again, up on the back leg, push that back leg hip forward. You're an elevator going down, chin tucked in, as low as you can go in your pain-free range of motion. Now, remember how I mentioned a resistance band around your thighs? What if you happen to have one right now? You're still pushing your thighs outwards so that they do not collapse inwards, yes? Ankle and knee on that front leg are lined up so that shin is vertical. And again, some of us may be able to get that knee to the ground, some of us not, knowing that there's always room for improvement in all of us. You start where you are is really what you can do at this point, yes? 2, nice job. Where are you looking, team? Eyes on the horizon, right? We know that if we want to keep that best base of support, Our head is looking right over the center of our shoulders here, not looking downcast, because that's going to take us off our center of gravity. While I talk, I want you to do some really gentle heel lifts, heel drops. So feet are hip width apart. Lift the heels up. If you are in a low or medium category for risk of fracture, you know you can drop with your knees soft, relatively firmly. If you are taking medication for your osteoporosis, you want to land gently. And this is a great way to increase that peak vertical reaction force in your body. Heel drops actually increase that vertical reaction force by 3.6 times relative to your body weight. 3.6 times, team. So what a great way to get in some information to the hip socket, to the bones there that they need to stay strong. And you can keep doing your heel drop while I talk about the simple 4 exercises we're going to repeat together twice today. The first one is a simple goblet squat. I'm going to choose to use a heavier weight and hold it. I will show you how we're going to hold that. Our goblet squat today is for 10 repetitions. You want to hold your goblet squat or your weight in such a fashion in the center of your body, as close to your body as you can muster. After that, we're going to go over to a wall or a door for some push-ups, deadlifts, and then finish with some alternating lunges and bicep curls. We'll go upper, lower, or lower, upper. To me, all of these exercises, even though they may be focused on a certain body part, actually encompass the whole body. So grab a quick sip of water if you haven't already. We're going to start with our goblet squats. A way to vary this is to do a sit to stand. So if you take your weight, don't be intimidated by this. This is not as heavy as it looks. These are the adjustable weights. I'm coming closer. You're going to hold your weight as if it's a bell. You're just going to hold one end of it. That's it. Good. And I'll show you on different category or different weight loads. You can hold the weight like so. And if you have 2 lighter weights, the next way that you can hold it to challenge yourself in your squat will simply be taking 2 weights, clicking them together. No matter what variation you're choosing to do, I want you to think about gently squeezing the shoulder blades on your back, keeping your collarbones nice and broad. Option 1 is to come to that chair, to the edge of the chair, and you can do 10 sit to stands in this variation. Thinking about really squeezing in through the seat. Otherwise, we're going to do a goblet squat. So you can separate your feet just outside of your hips. Imagine that resistance band. We're already doing this together, team, right? Squeeze the shoulders on the back, hold that weight close to your body, go down and up. So remember, your chest is facing forward. You're folding at the crease of the hips, and you're keeping that tension through the seat. Maybe feeling a sense of tension through those abdominals. Eyes are on the horizon. And really focus on your feet, team. That's it. Pressing into all 3 corners. The big toe, pinky toe, and center of heel are all connected into the ground equally and evenly. Whew. So you want to feel at the end of your 10 repetitions, you say to Diana, I cannot possibly do 1 more at this point. That's how you know you're challenging yourself and potentially making change in the structure of your body. Nice job. I know I need a sip of water. I'm not going to rush into the exercises. That's why I'm keeping them simple and effective. We all need to be able to get up from a chair through all stages of life. That's one way that you can prime yourself, so getting up from a chair without the weight will then become easier. So, sip of water. Before we move into our wall push-up, so focusing on upper body and core, I want you to think about where your elbows will land in your push-up. I don't want them out to the side, left to right today. Instead, I want you to think about your elbows coming to the sides of your bottom waistline. So not tucked in necessarily, but slightly out to the side. Think about tops of the shoulders, down the back away from the ears. Our protraction and retraction exercise from our warm-up is present in this. So you can take your hands at shoulder height, slightly dial your arms or your hands outwards so that the elbows, when they bend, go down and slightly away from the body. Challenging yourself, number 1, feet underneath hips. Number 2, walk back a little further. Number 3, come up onto the tippy toes. I'm gonna go in the mid-range here, team, looking for 10 times. Before we go, squeeze your seat, engage through those abdominal muscles and lengthen through all 4 sides of the waistline. Find your stick person, yes. And bend those elbows, maybe your forehead comes to the wall. Think about where the movement needs to come from, team. This is not your arms doing an exercise. These are your postural muscles doing the exercise. So as you straighten those arms, I want you to actively push away from the wall, and then you could perhaps take your time as you get closer to the wall and push. So slow down, coming to the wall, time under tension, and exhale, push it away. Again, form is everything here. We want to keep the seat engaged, and we want to think about that lengthen through the spine so that we're not bananing our body. Maybe think about a little bit more integrity in through those abdominals, bending and pushing. 10 times is all I'm asking for today. If you found that easy, there is the opportunity in the second round to walk those feet slightly farther away, coming up onto those tiptoes. Grab that sip of water. I like to do a victory lap. You're halfway through round 1. Exercise number 3, a deadlift or a Romanian deadlift. We're thinking about those knees soft, thinking about those tissues, right? I'm gonna demonstrate it with those tissues under my armpit. And then again, we don't want the weights in front of the thighs, beside the thighs. I want you to just take them onto the corners of the legs here. Yeah, as if your leg had up like it was a box. Again, eyes on the horizon, knees are soft. Predominant movement from the pelvis. Push the pelvis back. Come on up, flat back position. So your posture is everything in this exercise. The arms aren't really doing anything. They're just dead, hence the term deadlift, right? Think about the neck nice and long, pressing into the outer edge, inner edge, and center of your heel, and find that squeezing action to come right back up. That's it. So we're looking for 10 times. If you're finding 10 is too much for you today with your load, then perhaps you can think of decreasing it to 8 for a few weeks. And then when that becomes easy, it doesn't become easy, you get stronger, then you can slowly increase over time. No higher than 12 repetitions is what I would work for before we start switching up the exercises. Nice job, team. Put your tissues or dish towels away. Grab that quick sip of water. Let's go on to our final exercise, and then we'll repeat it all again before I send you off on your merry way. Alternating lunges, so we're working on our balance now. I'm gonna downgrade my weight slightly for this. If you choose, you can just use one weight and switch hands because you would like to use your chair for some assistance. So it would look something like this. Alternate, switch hands. Alternate, bicep curl. So think of your palm and your inner arm facing away from your body, and you're gonna bicep curl. But one more thing to that, imagine the tissue is in your armpit, yes? So you're hugging your body, shoulders are down. Option 2, look mom, I'm using both hands, palms away from the body, and here we go. We're gonna alternate, and come back up. So now I'm asking you to do 2 things. Your upper body and lower body are working simultaneously. So even though I programmed this as an upper body, it is very dynamic. If this becomes too challenging for you, could you simply do a bicep curl and forget the lower body, right? Keep hugging your armpits, shoulders over pelvis, head over shoulders over pelvis, alternating for a total of 10 times. So it's essentially 5 on each side. I think I've lost count, but that's okay. Good, we'll make this my last one. Good, and release. Come out of that, shake it out. Grab a victory lap, a sip of water. Small, short spurts of water, that's it. I love seeing all the armpits close to the body. That's the trick, right? Once we have that visual in our head of external cue, I guess is what we call it, then it makes a little bit more sense than hugging your body with your arms, yes? So we're gonna go right back from the top. So if your goblet squat included a sit to stand variation, feel free to sit on your chair with one of your heavier weights or two of your lighter weights. Take a moment, set yourself up. And otherwise, we're coming into a goblet squat position. So hug the imaginary pencil down your spine. Toes are dialed out to roughly 11 and 1, depending on who you are. And we're gonna go down, accordion, push, and up. That's it, team. Good, 10 times. So I think at this point in time, you can count on your own. Good. If you feel your stance is too wide, you can make it slightly narrower. Down and up. Think about your breath and how it supports you in your strength practice. If you think about exhaling where it's more challenging for you, you'll get a little bit more support. Very good. I think we're all synchronized here, team. Good. I think I have 3 more. Good. Down. Simple and effective. You don't need to work out for 2 hours. Even an hour sometimes is too much for me. 30 minutes is my favorite time frame. And I think that's it. Woo! Excellent. A little anaerobic work today. You can feel how your heart rate is speeding up. Maybe your breath is a little bit challenged here. So take a couple of breaths. Calm the nervous system. Find that balance and equalness in your breath. I promised you a 30-minute workout, so we're gonna definitely get complete in 30 minutes today so that you can enjoy the great outdoors. We're moving over to a wall push-up, and before I continue with wall push-up, I was speaking with one of our members today about kneeling push-ups or push-ups on the ground on 4-point kneeling. I would rather you take your push-up to a wall and walk your feet farther away. And then when you get really efficient at the most challenging variation, move over to another height like a counter in full form. When that gets challenging, easy, you move over to a chair before you move into transitioning to kneeling. Kneeling push-ups are really not gonna make you stronger at push-ups, right? If we wanna do push-ups, we wanna do full push-ups. So I want you to get really efficient at wall push-ups before you slowly graduate down to a full body push-up on the floor. And if you're wondering if that's possible, absolutely. But again, we need to give information to our postural muscles on our back to get stronger. So let's do it together, team. Hands at the wall, shoulder height. We don't want them too low. We don't want them up here or even too wide. So just outside of the shoulders with your hands dialed out. Thinking of the abdominals, supporting your spine. I'm gonna go, I found it really easy for me, so I'm gonna go a little farther back, click my heels together like I'm Dorothy. Squeeze my seat, squeeze the midline, bend the elbows. Good. So this is a lot more challenging. Where is it more challenging? In your neck muscles? If that's the case, we need to change up the variables here, get a little bit closer. We want those back muscles doing all the work. Squeeze that pencil, let it drop. Spine is nice and long. Where is the hardest part of this exercise? It's in the push. Whew. You're bringing yourself close to the wall, you're pushing yourself away. Nice job, team. Whew. Really spread those fingers. A nice strong base of support. This is my last one. Whew. Come on out of that. Not easy, right? So we get really good at that. Get really efficient. And then you're like, one day, Diana, that got really easy. And I'm like, it did not get easy. You got stronger, okay? Every time. You just got to keep practicing. Deadlift on deck right now. So find your 2 heavier weights, one on each side of the corners of your legs, palms facing your body. Before we continue, squeeze the shoulders back, please. Collarbones nice and broad. Unlock your knees, and that's the gist of what your knees are doing right now. Right? Now put your mind's eye in your pelvis. Push your pelvis behind you. Your hands stop where they stop. And you come up 10 times. Let's go, team. Down. Use the exhalation on your work. You're just coming up to vertical, head over shoulders over pelvis. Again, I'm pretty sure the groceries you carry are way more than 5 pounds, right? So if you want to make those groceries feel lighter, you need to lift heavier in class. It doesn't happen overnight. I'm not suggesting you go from 5 pounds to 15 overnight or in a week, but it needs to, or otherwise those groceries are going to start feeling a lot heavier than they actually are because your body has adjusted. When our groceries start feeling like a bag of bricks, then we know it's time to increase that load. Finish your 10. That's it. Put your weights down, shake out those arms, shake out those legs, grab that sip of water if you feel necessary. I always think it's necessary. Find that breath. Remember why you're here, right? You want to be stronger, yeah? More resilient, less chance of falling, more chance of enjoying life. And we're gonna go on with our last exercise before we stretch it out, team. So, find your weights. I was doing it at my lighter weight, so I'm gonna challenge my alternating lunges with heavier, but before I do that, don't let those arms be dragged down or your posture. Press away from the ground, eyes on the horizon. If you're sure of your footing, step back with one leg, bend the knees, come up, and switch. So 5 times on each leg for a total of 10 is all I'm asking for today. If that felt easy after 10, when you're doing this on your own at a later date, know that you can increase that to 8 or 10 sets in total, right? Right now we're doing 5 sets. Find that breath, find the steadiness in your gaze. Resist those arms being dragged forward, so keep those muscles on your upper back active. Shoulders over pelvis. Accommodate that range of motion that's appropriate in your knees. Finishing off here for me. Woo! Nice job, team. Did you finish before me? Grab that sip of water, we're gonna stretch the things out. Whew. So take a moment here, let's just circle those arms up, back, and around. Beautiful. Move with your breath. Try to make the movements as big as you can. Feet are underneath your hips now. 3, good, 2, and 1. Can we change directions, please? Good, about 5 times in each direction. I'm so glad you showed up for yourself today. 3, 2, and 1. Release your arms by your side. Imagine you're carrying those grocery bag now, up, back, and around. And so when we carry those grocery bags, our arms aren't going to be hanging down. We're going to hug those muscles on our back, chest nice and proud. Use your posture and your core as you continue to just make these shoulder circles and then change directions. 3, 2, 1. Open your palms so that they face forward. Reach your fingers back and arms are on a low diagonal. Open your chest, squeeze the back muscles. Try not to bounce in this, so our goal is not to bounce in our stretches. That's not necessarily appropriate way to stretch. And then from here, take your fingertips, interlace them in front of your body. Imagine from this angle, your elbows are soft and you're hugging a beach ball. But so that you get the sense of broadness through the upper back. Yeah? Shoulders are down, eyes are on the horizon. 3, 2, 1. Let's just get a little bit of stretching through the lower limbs. So we're gonna take one leg behind us, come into a lunge position. You can hold on to a chair, lean forward, keep that spine lifted on all 4 sides and drive that back heel down, just getting lower into the calf and the Achilles. Take 3 deep inhales and exhales. You can top this workout up by going for a nice vigorous walk now. We know that we need 30 minutes a day of cardiovascular exercise. Can be broken up into 3 10-minute, I can do math, 3 10-minute snippets of exercise. Let's switch legs. So a nice little brisk walk around your block, or 2 sometimes. Good. One more breath here, team. We're going to finish off with a standing variation of a downward facing dog. So using the back of a chair or a wall, you can take your hands to the back of the chair, push your hips back, unlock your knees. If you can keep those legs straight and your pelvis doesn't tuck under, then please go ahead. Otherwise, a nice soft bend in through the knees. Try to think of stretching from the armpits to the fingertips, and then the armpits in the other direction towards the outer hips. 3 breaths here. Wiggle those toes. Taking a moment to thanking your body for everything it has done for you in this last 30 minutes. Strength in 30 class with Mindful Movement-RX. One more breath together, team. And unlock your knees. Come on up. Welcome yourself to the remainder of your day. Thank you so much for joining me again. I'm Diana McNeill from Mindful Movement-RX. Thank you, everybody.